So Josiah, how's your wound?
My wound is healing up pretty nicely, actually.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah, and I thought I was doing better. I feel like I'm still a little bit nasally right now, but maybe it's because we're doing a Tom DeLonge episode that my nose is just like doing a Tom DeLonge thing.
You're just like a real podcast empath, and that's emerging right now in your sort of harsh nasal tones.
Yeah, exactly. I think my body is just like embracing this a little bit too much.
But I think we should thank all the friends of the pod who reached out to help, hashtag heal that wound for Josiah last week.
Yeah, that was trending all across the world, actually.
California was trending in Toronto the day that the California episode dropped. And I think it was because like 2 people tweeted about the state of California. But I remain convinced that it was Blink-155 fans, the Hive, letting their voices be heard out on social, which, like, of course we appreciate.
Well, I do think we need to, like, mention our relationship with social media right now, because it's quite interesting. Like, our Twitter is sort of growing, but also it seems to be about 5 people who are very obsessed with us, and then no one else. And, like, shout out to all those people. We appreciate your constant barrage of tweets, but
we appreciate all 5 of you. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a British girl who loves us, and a bunch of dudes, and I wish I remembered your name so I could give you a real shout out, but you know who you are.
We gotta remain a little aloof.
It's true.
If we knew everyone's name, we would be just like them. When we're not, we're better. We have a podcast.
Yeah, this is the new cool, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Having a desperately niche podcast, but I was gonna say for all the because when I look at who's listening, it's not just those 5 people.
No, there's
and clearly not just our friends. There's quite a few, like not quite serial, but almost. I think
we're at like S-Town numbers, I think, or maybe Serial season 2.
Right. Oh yeah, everyone hated that one, right? I mean, I've never listened to any of it, but I think I know.
Right, because you don't like podcasts.
No, I actually really hate this medium.
It's so
There's
great,
no
man.
Pictures.
We haven't.
There's no pictures.
Yeah, I can see how it kind of doesn't work for you. But it's true. There are many more people, downloading, maybe listening to, but maybe just archiving for future use this podcast than simply engage with us on Twitter or know us in real life. And that is rad.
Yeah. So if you're one of those people, you could follow us at Blink-155 pod.
Tight.
You could follow at Blink-155 to see the guy who's just tweeted twice about Blink-182.
And I really thought Twitter was going to give us that handle. I'm pretty upset about it.
Once the podcast gets big enough, I think we could buy Twitter, and then we'll just own Twitter, and then we can have that handle. And then we could even have like all the members of Blink-182's handles as well.
I was going to say, is that the only thing you'd do if you owned Twitter would be take back at Blink-155, which is an inactive account?
Yeah. No, I would reinstate Milo, and
that's definitely sort of part of this show's mission for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, in addition to Twitter, you can find us on Facebook.
Not the most fun platform, but like sure.
Well, I was just curious because I am a little bit OCD about this, and I was searching earlier on Facebook, and I was seeing if anyone was talking about Blink-155.
Are they, Josiah?
Not really,
okay.
To be honest.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
But but you could start. I mean, you could start. But what I was going to say about it, if it would load, there's there's some sort of, I want to say, perhaps Middle Eastern, when you can get like knockoff clothes through Facebook, and there's like knockoff designer clothes. Like Chanel or something?
I don't do a lot of high-end shopping on Facebook. So
it's the opposite of high-end shopping. Like you can get like this weird... Here, I'm actually going to show you what I'm talking about.
The only off-brand shit I've bought on the internet is a $20, shipping included, Kyle Lowry Toronto Raptors jersey from Alibaba.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, this is sort of like Alibaba, but a little bit more... if you're on your Messenger on Facebook here, you'll see what I'm talking about. when I search Blink 155, this online store's measurements for some reason always lists something as Blink 155. I don't know what that means, but they have like weird like knockoff Armani and Balenciaga and Chanel dresses.
So, well, that's our side hustle. That
right.
Makes sense that you found that, because this is the other half of Blink 155 has two distinct revenue streams. One is our Patreon, and two is this Middle Eastern Chanel knockoff store that we run.
Exactly. And well, there is one that says I'm just gonna send this to you. I think I would like it if our Facebook presence at least usurped this obscure knockoff clothing store.
Well, how many likes does this knockoff clothing store have?
I don't know. I can't even find the store, but it just always says Blink 155. I don't really get it, but the shirt I just sent you says "Bored before Eve began."
That's so
Honestly,
strange.
it looks kind of cool. Like, I could see Matt Skiba wearing this sweater.
It's a very Matt Skiba sweater. So if you want to see what we're talking about, if you want to have a visual experience like Josiah does with this podcast, follow us on one of those social things.
I'm actually just going to hit share on this one with the Blink 155 account right now.
Perfect, man. So this is
that
actually...
this is
live.
The few people who follow us now are going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, it's really going to look like we got hacked, because this is, I don't think, an English language post about a shirt with nonsense English words written on it. So absolutely, for those people who have already liked the Facebook page, they're going to be like, there's malware on my computer.
Well, for the people listening
Josiah
live right now, our wives, they might know what's going on. Although I don't know if they've even liked the Facebook page.
I don't think so. My wife doesn't like Blink 182. Does your wife like Blink 182?
She does. She does. Well, we can talk about that one day, but I think I've made her realize that she likes them even more than she does. She knew. Because
she hears half of a conversation about it every week?
Yeah. In the other room, she pretends to be the other half of the conversation.
That should be a Patreon exclusive, is just like sort of commentary tracks or that's really an alternate mix, essentially, right? Like the Tom Lord Ales mix of this podcast that actually features Sarah's answers instead of my own.
Or we could do one with Tom. That should actually be the exclusive could just be that you get half of the conversation, and then you can pretend to be a co-host.
You get the stems.
The stems. but this does bring me to my next social that I was going to talk about. We have Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
We don't have MySpace or Ello or any of the other.
What's the one that's for free speech? It's like Grub or Grab.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's like Nazi Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah, it's because, Twitter, as you mentioned earlier, banned your hero Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
And you want this podcast to be successful enough that you can buy Twitter to reinstate him. And so this Grubhub is the sort of place where many Milos can exist.
Oh, Grubhub you're talking about.
No, I think
food ordering app.
I don't think that...
The Nazi food ordering app.
Yeah, we're actually letting you know, breaking it here. That's a food delivery app run by Nazis. It's not. Cool. Please don't sue us. Please do not sue us, Grubhub.
Or any of the other things we've mentioned. But what I was going to say is...
Yes.
We have officially and very quietly launched our Patreon.
It was I think you launched it on a Friday at midnight Eastern time.
It's true. I didn't really do much on Friday night, so I was like, well, may as well scrape the bottom of the barrel and launch a fucking Patreon.
You were just that low? You were that down following the release of the Down episode?
Everyone knows, and I thought that my sympathy points would... Well, I shouldn't complain. We're currently bringing in a grand total of...
Yes.
$14 a month.
Are you kidding me? I thought it was still at $2.
No way. It's like we're breaking the bank here.
$14. That'll cover, like our Libsyn costs and
yeah. We already had to stop putting the episodes on SoundCloud because we can't afford to.
Yeah. Well, it's just like we're getting no plays on SoundCloud, so that's not a social for us, but we are keeping the episodes on YouTube if you really want to share one with a pal.
This is basically just 10 minutes of us naming different websites. I like it. We're also on
Ella.
Google. We're also on Google.
Oh yeah, we're very active on Google Plus. So plus us. hit us with those plussies.
I forgot about that.
You did say at one point that we should do a kind of pathetic beg people to rate and review because.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. Like, what's the point of that?
I don't know. Maybe don't. But like.
Well, no. Go on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. Say that you like me better than Sam.
Yeah, it's actually a poll. So please go on and say that you like me better than Josiah. The reviews seem stupid. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I've never like reviewed one of them. Like love to laugh with Cumtown. These boys sure are funny.
My friend Jessica, who hosts the podcast Retail Nightmares, of which I've listened to one episode because I don't listen to podcasts, but I do really like Jessica.
That's nice.
She reviewed it, and it was a lovely review. And then I clicked her username and saw what other reviews she had written, and one of them was a review of an alarm clock app that she said works great. She told me she didn't remember writing it. I mean, I don't know, like what? Like, I guess I'm sorry to put this out there publicly, but like, why would you go review an alarm clock app?
Just totally blacked out too. Like, just.
I mean, also, why do you have an alarm clock app? I'm pretty sure there's been an alarm built into the iPhone since number 1.
I've never had a problem with the alarm clock app on my phone. It's quite functional.
Well, there's a built-in alarm, so you didn't need that app to begin with.
What was her review of the new app?
I think it was something like it works perfectly, wakes me up every time I need to wake up or something.
Which is
maybe that's fun.
It's the exact same review that she left for this podcast as well. So I can see she sort of got an angle, which is fine.
Speaking of reviews, we did do our obscenely long episode last week because of me.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we're going to break the record again in this. No. But I've noticed the feedback from strangers was overwhelmingly positive, and the feedback from my inner circle of friends was mixed. Probably because they have to hang out with me more often than just once a week, maybe.
What was the rudest thing someone said to you about publishing an hour and 40-minute podcast about Down?
It wasn't really... No one was exactly rude, which almost made it more cutting because they were just kind of politely begging me to rein it in a little bit.
I had, right before we started recording this podcast, a very kind message from a friend of the pod and character in the Dumpweed episode, Aaron Zorgel, who let me know that he actually found the tangents and the sort of not discussing Blink-182 to be some of the best stuff in the podcast. Now that I think about his compliment, it wasn't specifically that he liked the length. It was just that he liked all the crap that I usually cut out.
Yeah, like the normal Blink-182 conversation is bad.
Yeah.
Or at least worse than us normally talk. I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to know. But I think my friends are just generally sick of me, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair, man. Mine too. But like, they are also listening to this podcast, so joke's on them.
Yeah. And they're going to sign up for our Patreon out of guilt.
That's true. Yeah, people who already spend too much time with us listen to us talk in person because we're probably not social introverts. Now have like an extra hour to an hour and 40 minutes with us every week, just monologuing at them about a band they might not like, and we're asking them for money to do it.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's great. This is the ultimate like dick stroke.
It's just so good to be successful.
Yeah, I love it. $14 a month. It's amazing.
It's huge, man.
I might actually close the Patreon now because I would feel guilty taking any more.
No, that's exactly how much we need. So thank you to Mark, T.O., and whoever else. I haven't looked.
The people that obsessively tweet at us on Twitter are mostly only donating $1 a month, but I still appreciate that $1.
Are you
Don't
saying
get me wrong.
If they donated more than $1 a month, you might actually go to the trouble of remembering their names?
Possibly.
God damn, you're cold.
That should be one of the rewards, is if you donate $100 a month, I'll remember your name.
A lot of podcasts do the thing where they say someone's name, right? So it'll be like, this week's episode of Blink 155 is brought to you by listeners Engelbert Humperdinck and Josiah Hughes. Those are the only two names I can think
of. Not me. Those are the only. Yeah, well, They're both equally ridiculous names.
You know what's a ridiculous name, Josiah?
Oh, here we go. I should try to not let you segue.
You can't. It's too late. It's too late.
A ridiculous name. Let's see. What is a ridiculous name?
Dick Lips! So, Josiah, I tried to push not one but two different choices on you this week, even though it's your week to pick.
Yeah, you're already trying to steal my week, and honestly, the part of me that is just contrarian can't handle that.
Because I made two
if you
really
had
good
tricked me into
suggestions.
thinking it, if you had tricked me into thinking that it was my own idea, I might have done it. But
but because I wasn't like subtle enough about it, you're just
actually. This also ties into another friend of the pod who we are just generously giving this title out all the time.
Yeah, it's true. We should make that a tier on the Patreon.
Yeah, friend of the pod, $1,000 a month.
Hell yeah.
But Daryl, who came up with the brilliant down or not down segment.
Truly a brilliant concept.
That's like literally 40 minutes of that episode was just us saying that phrase. So it's kind of his fault that it was so long.
Yeah, it's true.
But he kind of, we were at like a family barbecue on the weekend, and I just casually suggested your ideas for topical songs that we could do, and Daryl almost pulled me aside and said, like, this is a dangerous precedent if you start being too topical.
Oh, okay.
And then the whole world around me just started crumbling, and I was like, God damn, he's so wise.
So
because if we start doing things tied to current events now, then we're gonna have to do that for the rest of eternity.
I guess I'm just looking for like some light, because otherwise we're just like flailing through 155 songs, and so to me it makes sense to occasionally be able to like grasp at a buoy out in the sea, and just take a second and get your bearings. Because I think my suggestions were good.
They were good.
So Daryl, stop poisoning Josiah's mind. My first suggestion was...
No, I don't think you should say what they are. Do you think you should?
I think we should.
I guess you could.
I think it's important to address this. Is it because we're not
public shaming here?
So one is "Happy Holidays, You Bastard," because it's probably one of the only songs that celebrates the upcoming holiday. Everyone's favorite gift-giving celebration, Labor Day.
Right.
And so I thought, hey, we can talk about Labor Day. Now, don't get me wrong. I recognize now saying that out loud, like...
I mean, like, literally, I guess I was just thinking, like, the sentence would be, oh, yeah, Labor Day is this weekend. And Mark says it in the song. He's like, yeah, that's cool. All right, talk to you next week, Sam.
Yeah, at least it would have given people a break, like a swift... smooth sub 60-second podcast.
That's true. Okay.
And the other suggestion came from Twitter
and this is okay. Let me just, before you say it, I just want to interject and say this right here is you giving them too much power. These Twitter people.
I'm going to do it because I think it's nice that there are people that care about the show.
And I'm the villain who says no.
Oh, man, this is I said, it's YouTuber mind, right? Like this is, I just want to make sure people are recognized and appreciated. So George Tankosic, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name.
He's a pretty dedicated, he's one of the 5, I think.
Well, thank you, George, for your support from me, Sam, the nice one.
I also thank you for your support, despite your on-the-nose suggestion.
So George's on-the-nose suggestion was going away to college, as many of us are just getting to college. And I was like, that would be nice. But you said, no.
No.
We're
maybe
doing
if it wasn't... When it's my turn, we do what I say.
So you said... you had a little tantrum and you said dick lips.
I did have a little tantrum. But I personally like that we're still early enough in the podcast that we're flailing. And we're just like doing whatever we want, and there's still lots to talk about. But there is one key reason that I wanted to talk about a song from Dude Ranch again before I forgot.
Okay, let's mine that.
Let's find that. Let's dig in.
Yeah.
Well, okay, like I just want to say that there's like this sort of new wave of memes going on. I don't know if anyone's even named it yet. Like I feel like as soon as they give it a name like Weird Twitter, it's going to be ruined. But you know, I'm sure you've seen it. There's like very niche memes going on the internet right now. Like, and at first I thought I wasn't going to get into it, but I love the new memes because they're just like for example, Millions of Dead Posers. The group Millions of Dead Posers. Do you know that? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
It's worth looking into. There's just like there's one called Try Gun Winamp Skin on Instagram. I wanted to shout out all these meme pages that I love, and they're basically just. I'm getting the
people
somewhere.
Who are nice about this insane endeavor that you're undertaking, but you want to shout out Thick Skin Winamp.
Try Gun Winamp Skin is one of the best meme pages on Instagram. You should follow it.
Okay, I will.
I'm getting somewhere with this.
Great.
You once ruthlessly edited out of this podcast that I was slow to like the hard times as a sort of punk comedy venture, and I've kind of come around on it. But these memes that I'm talking about are like so hyper specific, and they go so deep, and they're so like I think Trigun Winamp Skin is in a really sick hardcore band called Unix from Portland. My point is, they're just like punk kids who are so ironic and next level, and their memes are insane. And I just can't believe they exist because they're so hyper specific and niche and awesome. But there is a guy named CornFan420 who runs one of these meme groups.
That's me. You're talking about my meme page.
I don't think so, Sam.
Oh. Okay. Sorry.
Well, no, either way. So all of this to say, because of my interest in these meme pages, CornFan420 showed up on my Instagram discover page. I started looking through his memes, and I saw a screenshot of his own personal Facebook with a observation that has completely changed my life and blown my mind. And I cannot believe that this has been hiding in plain sight for 2 decades now, which is to say, Dude Ranch means come.
So you made us talk about dick lips.
Because I wanted to talk about how, like, I knew that I would forget if we took too long to talk about Dude Ranch again, and this is a fairly recent thing that he posted. It was a screenshot of his own Facebook, and like, I can't believe it. Now, this is to say that the take off your pants and jacket pun, I actually didn't get for like 10 years, probably. Like, I didn't see it at all.
Was it one of these sick meme pages? Was it like Mudvayne69 that
no,
illuminated
not quite, but I
the
think,
double entendre?
I think somebody explained it to me in real life, and I was like, I don't know what you mean. And then they explained it like 5 more times, and I was like, holy shit. But I mean, this Dude Ranch discovery, I think, is like a major milestone in Blink-182 anthropology. Do you not agree?
I do agree, but I have to wonder if we're giving that era of Blink-182 too much credit. Or do you think that the photo shoot and everything that goes along with that album is designed to be like a sleight of hand for the ultimate prestige 20 years later, the ultimate prestige of it being come?
Well, I think you might be right, but I also think, for example, on the Dick Lips single, they included the song Wrecked Him. And they came from Uranus around this time. And not too long after, they did Enema of the State. So they've been suggesting these puns for quite a while. And so I think maybe this was just an incredibly subtle, like almost classy in a way of saying come.
It is classy. It's premium cum. It's truly wow.
I mean, I just can't think of it any other way now.
No, that's absolutely what that is. But then I wonder, was the idea always to go with this literal Dude Ranch aesthetic to sort of throw people like you and I off the scent until Corn 420 eventually sort of
CornFan420, yeah.
I don't know, like reveal the truth?
That's the kind of amazing thing about it, and probably the sign that it's actual art is that it's like a magic eye that reveals secrets all these times later, all these years later.
Hold on, do you think that magic eye is real art? like all this other art is bullshit art.
I mean, yeah,
Venus de
obviously.
Milo, not art. You know, Starry Night, not art. It's a bicycle.
Yes.
Art.
To answer your question, yes, magic eyes are art.
Okay, cool.
But this does remind me of I once interviewed David Wayne, the comedic filmmaker, for a paper that I used to work for, and it was about the movie They Came Together with Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
And I thought that They Came Together was such a brilliantly subversive title because they're talking about mutual orgasm for this romantic comedy. And he said even, like, I was like, was the studio against it? And he was like, no, the studio didn't even get it. And then I was worried that no one would get the joke. So it's kind of like that, like a joke that's so subtle and dry that it took decades to discover, maybe.
So do you think they have just been waiting? Do you think this is like the thing that would get like Scott and Tom and Mark all back together?
Maybe.
Like the next time Mark's doing one of his, you know, hey, I got 10 minutes, you know, before we got to get on the bus, like, ask me anything. And we jump in with like, is Dude Ranch cum? A fish cum? And he says, yes, you've solved the riddle of Blink-182. And then that's it. Like they come back together. And
or maybe they all just would like disintegrate. Like they're done. Their job here is done. And they go back to Uranus.
Yeah. Yep. That's absolutely what would happen, I think. Well,
I will ask him if that ever happens again, though. I would like to ask him because I honestly think, like, what was the new one, instead of being called California, had some other punny names that were like, I don't know, nude direction or like nude erection or like things like that were just like so unsubtle and kind of clunky. But this is just such a brilliantly subtle ejaculate joke that I just respect it so much.
It's like the, you know, the drawing of the old woman or like the old hag or the beautiful young woman or whatever. But like we have only been seeing the less cummy side of the drawing, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, if I look at it this way.
Well, I always wondered about the cowboy theme. Like it was kind of like it fit into the aesthetic of the time, but I didn't understand really why it had, like, what was the point of the cowboy theme.
What do you mean, what was the point?
Like, why did they decide to call it Dude Ranch and make everything look like a cowboy thing? I think it was to hide this cum joke.
Yeah, this is okay. Well, that's it. I mean, I think we need, if you're listening to this and the next time, you know, you see Mark doing an AMA, like, I'm not always on Twitter. I don't have, you know, Josiah is. So like tweet at Josiah, tweet at Blink-155 pod and say, you know, you're up. And Josiah could get in there. You got the verified check mark, so we know it shows up higher in his feed.
Mark will have to see it until he blocks me.
Oh, that's absolutely what we're headed towards on this show, isn't it?
I want him to either follow me or block me, but I'm sick of this in between.
Yeah, that's fair. I get that, man. So did you choose Dick Lips solely to be able to talk about Corn Fan 420 and the long hidden double entendre of Dude Ranch?
No, I also wanted to get back into Dude Ranch anyways because I love it, and Dick Lips is one of my favorite songs by the band in general.
Dick Lips is, and I realized I even said this last week, and I feel like I'm going to say this about every song, like probably a top 5 song.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for me it actually might be, but I know I even understand what you're saying because their catalog, like, it's constant. You constantly remember songs and you're like, oh shit, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This one, there's sort of that block on Dude Ranch that it sort of sits in here with, you know, it's like Dick Lips, Apple Shampoo, you know, Emo, whatever that block is, I guess, after Enthused, where those are all like the some of the best songs on that record, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And this one also is like so earnest and melancholy, which again, like, to talk about naming conventions, I love that this is like probably their most serious song yet up to that point, and then they called it Dick Lips.
Yeah, like, so have you found in your, research why on earth that is? Because that's something I've, always kind of found totally confusing about sort of like this block. Because I never remember the names of these songs. It's one of those things where I'm like, the difference between like Dick Lips, Waggy, whichever one is untitled, like, there's just sort of a mash in there of all, like, some of the band's best stuff, but with like really nonsensical titles.
Yeah, no, and it was just that, like, they just didn't have a name for it, and Mark kept calling everyone Dick Lips while they were recording it, so they just called it that.
So that's it. It's nothing.
Yeah, but I think that sort of perfectly represents the sort of like emotionally stunted. Like, to me, this song is basically a Judd Apatow coming of age movie. It's like totally almost earnest, but then they just self-sabotage by being like Dick Lips. Like, it's like they almost are sincere, but they can't handle it because it feels too like awkward.
Well, it's like anyone, it sort of presages this era of impenetrable and emotionally stunted, ironic discourse that we are so tragically mired in. We've talked, I think, a few times about Kill All Normies and just the sort of way that we interact and the way that we meme, even the things that we love. So, it's Corn Fan 420 is kind of a symptom of this, where you can't be serious about anything. And so I find this very awkward because I am like kind of a corny dude and I like to be like excited about things on the internet, but I always feel like I look like such a nerd because I want to be like way more detached. And so, yeah, the idea that Blink writes this like really emotive song, it's got a fucking acoustic guitar in it. And
well, I also think maybe it's not just a symptom of our time, but also of maybe, well, I don't know. Like, I didn't know you when you were younger, but for anyone, I think when you're in your early 20s, it's a lot harder to actually be sincere because you're still like constantly insecure about how you come across, and you don't want to come across as so corny. Whereas like when you get a little bit older, you're fine with just being earnest and truthful about things sometimes.
Are you saying you wouldn't have agreed to host this podcast like 10 years ago?
I don't know. Like, I honestly feel like lately in my personal life, it's easier to have like real conversations with people instead of just like constantly doing a bit. That said, online is different. I think online is different because it's easier to do a performance. It's more fun to like do a performance and dick around online. But I think, like, because knowing Tom was in his early 20s when he wrote this song, I looked up his age because I was like, how old is too old to open a song with "Please Mom, You Ground Me" all the time?
That's important research. Like, that is actually really important.
When this song came out, Tom was 21, which is definitely too old still to open a song with that. But I still think at 21, like, if you're trying to be earnest and sincere, you may eventually be like, oh, I'm with my bros. I need to sabotage this to seem cool.
When do you think is too old officially to write a song that opens up with "Please Mom, You Ground Me All the Time"? Like, what would have been an age where you were like, yeah, that's fine?
Okay, let's both say the number that we think. Let's count down and both say it at the same time.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and then we'll say the number.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 7.
14. Wow, 7. I
just like I don't know, man. It's tough to say if it would ever be excusable.
I think if you're like 14 and you still have like a glued mohawk and you're like trying to like be punk, maybe it would work. But
did you ever have like a full glue mohawk Liberty Spikes?
No, not quite. But I did sort of try to do it in like grade 7. But I had like Kool-Aid dyed hair.
Tight. I saw that you were quite active in Raging Against the Machine, though, and fighting the system.
I really was.
While also repping your punk roots.
Yeah. Sam is referring to a photo I posted. Well, see, so since last week, we have signed a lease on a new place. And we're getting ready
congratulations!
Yeah, so things are looking up a little bit. But because of that, we've now have to like go through our basement that we haven't looked at in many years. So I've been going through old photos, and I think that's really adding to my ability to be more earnest now, because I look back at my youth and I'm like, oh my God. What are you? Who is this monster?
So the monster you're referring to was in the paper for like protesting bombs.
Yeah, see, what happened in my life was like I was very, very, very earnest, and then I realized how embarrassing I was being, and then got too addicted to irony, and then now think I'm back. The pendulum has sort of arrived at the middle a little bit. But yeah, when I was like 15, that was they were building a power plant in Abbotsford, and so we went down. My dad took us down to like protest it, and I was like obsessed with Adbusters and I don't know, whatever the fuck else, like Rage Against the Machine. I think
No
I
Logo,
like had
or you probably didn't read No Logo.
It probably
right?
wasn't even out yet.
Oh,
this
wow.
was pre 9/11 also.
Oh shit!
Like this is the year 2000. So
there we go. That's our 9/11 reference for the episode, so I can check.
oh yeah, I forgot.
Check that off.
We forgot to ring the identity politics bell earlier when you were talking about kill all normies or something.
That wasn't too bad.
No, we haven't gotten there yet. But anyways, yeah, so I was in the newspaper wearing a gas mask protesting this this power plant that they were building that was going to pollute Abbotsford even worse than it already was.
Wearing an MXPX hoodie.
Wearing an MXPX hoodie, yeah. And as my friend Aaron, who is also an avid listener, pointed out, MXPX later did have a gas mask logo. So I'd like to think that they read Abbotsford's local newspaper and saw that a real punk was out there making good happen in the world.
But I like that you referred to this version of yourself as a monster, I think, at the start of this story. So
well, it's more complicated than that, but not that specific. I don't know. I just mean looking back on my teen years, I'm like, why did I think I was so great back then? Like, I want to wedgie myself.
The gas mask, I guess, is a little bit much, but like otherwise, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen my my handwritten work that I found in the basement.
Okay.
Either.
We'll save that for some future episodes.
I'll save that for never.
So did you get grounded a lot like Tom?
No, actually,
did you ever
I didn't
say,
at all.
Please, Mom, like, stop?
No. No, I know we've tried to turn this into an analysis of my relationship with my parents numerous times.
Well, you did pick a song that's about a relation, like explicitly about
true.
a relationship
It's
with
true.
parents. So I think you wanted to get into this.
Maybe that's true. I mostly picked it because I do really like the musical elements, but no, my parents were really chill. They were basically just like, yeah, do whatever you want, but if you stay out really late, you still have to go to school tomorrow. And then they would still call in sick for me all the time when I needed to, so it was fine.
And because of that, you've only ever finished Travis Barker's autobiography. So
Exactly.
hats off
Yeah.
to the Hugheses.
Exactly.
It's funny that
they were pretty chill. How about you, though?
I was blessed with sort of very wonderful parents, and also I am a massive nerd, and I don't think I ever did a single thing. Like, I was straight edge till I was in my 20s. I was like a real rule-abiding youngster, and I don't think they ever had any reason to ground me, which is like super embarrassing, but like that's the truth.
No, I'm kind of the same way, though. I mean, I wasn't in my room listening to a cappella CDs like you probably were.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Is like I was addicted to the Pella and no interest in anything else.
Yeah, as we know, I was a very youth group sort of kid, so I didn't really I drank a little bit, but not really, and I didn't really like do anything that bad. But having said that, my friends and I were so bored that we would like constantly go exploring abandoned buildings, and looking back now, I'm like, we were definitely doing break-in entries. Like, those buildings were abandoned, but they were very sealed shut, and we were getting in somehow. So
that's cool, man.
I still got into shit in Abbotsford, but I wasn't like this song is about specifically being kicked out of high school for drinking at a football game, which I could never see myself A, going to a high school football game, or B, drinking at a high school football game.
Yeah, those are like experiences I cannot relate to as part of the high school experience. But I feel like the story of this song was somehow like very central to the band when they blew up, even not related to this song, like when Damn It became a hit and they were super mainstream. This was an anecdote that I feel like got told in a lot of interviews, because without even thinking about it, when you suggested it, I was like, oh, it's a song about when Tom got kicked out of high school for drinking, and it was like a really important event in his life or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah. exactly. And it's like, I don't know. It seems actually so vanilla.
Well, it's the most
It's like-
boring possible origin story, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have like Batman and he saw his parents gunned down outside of the opera, and you have, I don't know, Swamp
But
Thing.
I think it also, it sort of like speaks to the authenticity of Blink-182 when they are just being like very suburban. Like this is just like, and also in the Pursuit of Tone, Ernie Ball, Tom DeLonge documentary that we'll do an exclusive about one day if we reach our goal. But he talks about like how he was like a rowdy teen, and then basically it's like he used to like, I don't know, shoot water guns at his neighbors or something. It's just like, it's so limp and vanilla, and like we all know people. I think we all know someone who was like a lot sketchier than this when we were young.
Yeah, I mean, getting kicked out of a high school, I think is it a football game or a basketball game? Like, I think we should get this right as keepers of the
Right.
keepers of the faith or whatever.
You're right. It was a basketball game.
Yeah, so just to correct.
Yeah, that's a little closer. I may have gone to a basketball game.
Yeah,
in
like
high
basketball's cool. Like football's not as cool. So at least like basketball's, you know, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
More
you're wearing
punk.
that fresh bootleg Raptors tee.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can relate because I got all my Alibaba swag. It smells odd, but it's fine.
Look what has happened to you. You used to be such a sweet young boy, and now you're ordering bootleg shirts.
I know. I tried to buy an Android box, but it didn't work. And then rather than get it replaced, I took it as a sign from God that as an employee of a media company, I shouldn't be stealing people's intellectual property. So,
Man, you know, I'm all about stealing intellectual property, but I also pay for cable, and I'm like the only person I know who has cable.
we finally cut our cable recently, but I got the antenna. You get all the good channels.
I mean,
I'm going to cut this
Now
part. Jesus Christ.
we're literally just like two dads catching up right now.
So
Anyways,
the musical
yeah.
part of this song, though, is...
No, hang on.
Oh.
We should finish this basketball now because
Okay, yeah.
we have to talk about it despite it being boring. But he claims that getting kicked out of Poway High School, then he went to Rancho Bernardo High School. Both of those sound so fake, like they
Yeah.
were created for an MTV teen dramedy, like Awkward, which was a very good show, by the way.
Okay, cool.
But he said that because he was kicked out and went to this other school, that's the reason Blink-182 formed. Like, I think he met Scott at the other school, and then that, like, Blink-182 would not exist had he not been drinking at this basketball game and got kicked out of school.
It's so crazy to think about ways the universe would be different. Like, who would take Blink-182's place, you know? Like, what's the alternate timeline look like where we never got Blink-182?
What would we be talking about right now?
Yeah, like, are we doing
Would this be a podcast about... I don't even know. I'm so confused.
Yeah, maybe it's like an Incubus podcast, you know?
Yeah, or like Dream Theater.
Yeah, we're super into Dream Theater in this alternate timeline.
So a thing that has strangely been scrubbed from Wikipedia, but I did find reference to elsewhere.
Wait, are you are you looking at like edits being made to Wikipedias when you do research for these shows?
Basically. No, but I found a listicle.
Okay.
Is how it started. And the listicle linked back to the Wikipedia for as a resource, but the mention of it has been scrubbed.
Well, you can't do that.
This is also like a very not punk thing, or maybe it is punk. I don't know. The high school that kicked Tom out later that year elected him homecoming king. So he came back to the high school as homecoming king.
I mean, it's definitely not punk, but it's definitely, I think, the Blink-182 version of punk that ruined punk and led to people like you and I ultimately identifying as quote-unquote punks.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the limpest middle finger at authority.
At my high school, the prom king was a action figure of Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings. Whatever.
Oh my god.
Who does he? Who's his
Did
character
you vote
in that?
for that guy?
Did
Frodo?
I what?
Frodo?
Yeah,
Bilbo?
Frodo. Yeah, Frodo. So it was like an action figure of Frodo, and he won, and a human woman won prom queen, and then her friends were all like really mad because they were like, you've made a mockery of Prom King. And we were like, suck it, we're punks, you know. I don't
Do you
know.
think she lost her virginity to the Frodo?
I think so. I think that they ultimately sort of found some common ground and made it that night.
Well, it sort of reminds me of like how the super right-wing Americans when they were angry that I don't remember when they were mad at Starbucks about Christmas somehow.
Yeah,
and they were
something.
like I don't even get it. Like they just Starbucks made their cups red at Christmas time, and they took that as that Starbucks wasn't saying the word Christmas anymore. Or something. I don't know.
Right, it was part of the war on Christmas narrative.
But just having red cups, like there was no like Starbucks never, I don't think said we're not going to say Christmas anymore.
No,
Like,
they
I
did.
don't know.
They said that Jesus is not the Son of God. They like published a whole manifesto.
Yeah,
It was the Seattle Manifesto.
they blasphemed the Holy Spirit, and they did all kinds of things that were just like, no, that's not true. Starbucks, please do not come after us.
Yeah,
But they
sponsor the
did
show.
this.
Actually,
They did
I would
this,
love
and then
free Starbucks.
yeah. If you like burnt coffee.
I do, man.
So they made everyone mad with these red cups, and then how they responded was like, we're gonna go to Starbucks and buy a coffee and tell them that our name is like MAGA, so they have to write that on the cup.
Oh yeah,
like-
yeah.
And it was like, you guys are buying Starbucks while you're doing this protest.
So are you saying that I'm a MAGA chud? Like, is that basically the vibe? Is that in high school
No,
I was like a person who goes into a Starbucks and is like, my name's Trump.
No, I intentionally chose not to make fun of you specifically right now because I was just, this picture was being formed of someone who giggles about electing Frodo and then goes home and listens to a cappella CDs. I was like, I don't even want to touch this right now. I was trying to say that Tom winning Homecoming King is the same sort of limp protest.
Yeah,
that,
it's
almost like
embarrassing.
attending a protest in a MXPX hoodie.
I mean, dude, did it work? Like,
I don't even know.
No.
I think 9/11 happened the next year and no one knew what to do anymore.
it's true, man. We're already at like 200% of our 9/11 references. So if you could kind of avoid that for the rest of the show. So you mentioned that also, in addition to the sort of incredibly limp, 90s punk narrative of the song, musically it is a favorite. And it is like it doesn't really sound like any other song on this album.
It doesn't really sound like any other Blink-182 song, to be honest.
Well, I've noticed that when they do it live lately, or at least sort of around the last time Tom was in the band, I don't know if they're doing it. It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
for
they
them
don't
to
do
it
it. They
now.
don't do it without him.
But they would do it with like Travis coming out front with like a small drum kit and then just basically playing it acoustic.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about. Well, I mean,
It was
before we
was
get
very
into-
bad.
Yeah, that's bad. But I mean, there's all kinds of variations. But in terms of the actual album version, First of all, I love. My favorite thing is when you're making a rock song and then you like sneak a little bit of acoustic guitar in there, but not like, it doesn't sound like a fully acoustic song. It just like adds some heft to it.
You got to get some new favorite things, man. That's
It is.
I just love it. A rock song with some acoustic guitar layering in there. It's like tight, dude.
It's like a very subtle, cool thing, like calling your album Dude Ranch. It's one of those things where like when you're listening to something, you're like, why does this sound so good? And then you realize that it's because there's like a little bed of acoustic guitars hidden in there.
So
I should
yeah,
say that's my favorite recording technique sort of thing.
Okay. So you're easy to impress, but this song is one of the only early Blink songs that has that effect. Like they had mastered, and you get this so perfectly on Damn It, obviously, like the sort of fake B3 organ. Is it the B3, whatever that is, the organ that was in?
Like the Hammond.
Yeah. And that sounds awesome and fills things out great. But like, yeah, the acoustic guitar's got a different texture to it.
Yeah, like it's not an acoustic song, but you hear it and you're like, oh, this is emotional.
Now, do you feel like the quiet part in this song is the chorus or the pre-chorus? Because I'm wondering how similar this is to Down in the sense that it gets big and then you get into the like kind of quiet intro part again with vocals over it.
Yeah. I think the quiet part is pre-chorus to me.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And that was my other point I wanted to make about the way the song is written, is that like it seems like a big trick that Blink-182 do that I never really noticed before is like they hit the minor chord at the chorus, and that's what really punches you in the gut when you're a teen with emotion. You like hear a minor chord first, like the nothing to do, whatever. That like there's like the minor octave chords in the background. Like, oh man, I don't know. I feel like a lot of songs go to major chords at the chorus, but when you're a teen and you hear that minor chord, you're like, ooh, it's my life.
It's the classic, teen chord progression.
Yeah, totally. But I feel like Blink does it for a lot of songs too. Like it's really a good trick that I never thought of before. Is like start it off major and then just punch him in the gut.
Do you think that at this time, like they knew enough about, I mean, now that that's like music theory, deep music theory, do you think that was some songwriting consideration, or do you think it was just like, this sounds good and it becomes the way that you write songs?
Yeah, I mean, I think for pretty much anyone who's not like an actual composer, that's just like you develop tricks that you don't realize are tricks, and it's just like, oh, this song sounds sweet, this sounds like a song I want to write, but you don't really necessarily know why.
Yeah, and in terms of like ways that they started writing songs, I feel like it's interesting because you made this point early on. We were talking about the insane title. Like, is this the first Serious Tom song? Like, is this our first glimpse at future Serious Tom?
I feel like it might be because, like, well, to be honest, I can't even think right now. But is there anything that serious on Cheshire Cat?
Nothing from Tom. Like, I don't know, Wasting Time. I mean, like, there's some stuff on there that's like serious, but it's all Mark serious.
Well, this also brings up an interesting point that I still think is that, like, and I've talked about this in a previous episode with their social medias, but I do feel like Mark is a little bit more guarded or a little bit more like not giving us everything, whereas Tom is totally willing to like be over emotive or overshare with what he's working on, or like he's a little bit more like manic or something. So I feel like I don't know if I've heard a Mark song that's like crazily transparently emotional other than like Adam's song, but that's sort of about something, not about himself. Whereas I feel like Tom is totally willing to like write a diary entry.
Well, it's interesting because I think we talked about this on the Apple Shampoo episode where it's like so sincere and then there's like a random slur in the middle of it. But, that I think you said, at this time it was funny because there was a concern that like Mark was going to end up being the sort of too serious and emotional one.
Yeah.
But maybe what you're saying kind of explains it, where like Mark on some level seemed like he was always writing from like a character perspective. Like it's outside of, I think probably some of his best songs like Apple Shampoo that are obviously sort of deeply and obviously connected to like a, very present lived experience. He's not going away to college when he's writing Going Away to College. I don't know that he is actually in love with Princess Leia, Stay Together for the Kids. Like, is that about, was he going through it? I don't think he was going through a divorce. Like, I think that's just like a song about divorce, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you're right. Like Tom was always, outside of the like really like full on joke stuff, like very much sort of committing an unguarded version of his psyche to paper. And so that's where you get like his truth a couple of years ago was aliens exist, and that was the extent of his like thoughts on the matter. And as that thought has like bloomed inside of his diseased brain, he's come to sort of approach those ideas with a greater degree of severity and sincerity.
I just had like an out of body experience while you were talking and thought about what I was doing right now. No, I think
when you looked down, how did you feel? Were you like, this makes sense?
I was like, can I fly somewhere else right now?
Yeah.
Go to a movie or something?
Oh, yeah.
I would go see Girls Trip again. That movie kicks ass.
Oh, I'm really excited for it. I already got a crew together to go see it next Friday.
All right, this is out of control. I think you're making an interesting point, and it's I've seen some people online saying that we're a little bit contradictory, and I am kind of contradicting myself when I say Mark has always seemed guarded, but yeah, like the seeds of it were there that, oh, this is the earnest guy, and the other guy's just making dick jokes the whole time. But I think the reason Tom made so many terrible, terrible jokes is because of what's happening in this song, which is the title is a dick joke, but he's actually just trying to guard how earnest and sincere he wants to be. In
a way, this song is like Love is Dangerous Part 1. Like this is the first window you get, into where he's headed with all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, so one of the places, there wasn't as many like tidbits about this song, so I was kind of looking at um some of the lyric explanation websites that exist, and
Finding
I
some
found
gold there on genius.com.
not Genius, but I was on, I think, Song Meanings or something, or one of the older ones that predates Genius. And
Yeah, that's like a
there was
real like live journal era.
yeah, and luckily they have a thriving comment section, or I should say they did. Many years ago.
Okay.
So I was reading some comments and I was really enjoying them. There were some quite vulgar ones that I actually don't really want to repeat, but there was also comments that were, so this is from September 21st, 2002. So we avoided another 9/11 reference.
Thank God.
Somebody with the username No School Spirit 7 said, "Great song, parents suck."
Well, that's some incredible insight. We're definitely giving people a good reason to donate to our Patreon, bring us about $14.
I just think maybe that is why this song resonates with people, because like it's so devoid of metaphor or like anything poetic, where it's just like, yeah, I don't like my parents either.
You know, it actually does have a little bit of that, you know, beige little boxes, here's a form, go wait in line, sort of California just dullness, in that there's a line in here about doing your chores.
Right. Yes. Okay. That's the banality that you were looking for.
Yeah, like it's always been a part of the band's DNA, which I think maybe takes some of the edge off of your criticism of California.
No, I don't know about that. At least he's not talking about forms.
Oh, so you feel like your ranking of just like boring tasks is like chores before forms? Chores before forms?
Chores before forms, yeah. Well, I think if you're going to say the line about being grounded, you have to mention the chores. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, okay. I get it. It's fine.
But it is funny about the chores because he says, like, nothing. He says he's like a boy who went out when he finished all his chores. It's like, yeah, his parents shouldn't be mad about that. He did his chores.
Yeah. He's mostly describing the actions of like a very responsible, like respectful kid.
Yeah. I'm curious what he drank at this basketball game. In my mind, it was like peach schnapps or something.
Does Tom ever do Twitter AMAs?
No, I don't know. I feel like you could probably just go to his weird like space young adult book laboratory in San Diego and talk to him.
And just be like, yo man, what did you drink at the basketball game? And that would be the one question. That's all I'd want to know. Like that's
exactly. That's the only thing that's missing from the Tom story.
So if any of
I wanted to read one more comment from the lyric page because
please do.
This is going to get edited out probably.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm excited now.
No, I just mean I feel like this research is, and I'm not even into the good stuff yet.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so this is from Jersey Girl, spelled with a Z.
Tight.
From August 1st, 2002. And she wrote, "Seriously, if you have a Smirnoff Ice wrapped in a sweatshirt and it drops out onto the kitchen floor, opened and half empty because you already drank most of it, do not try to say that your best friend, who you haven't seen since the party you got home from hours ago, made you drink it. All it gets you is grounded and slapped because your parents are as wasted as you. Well, that's in my case, anyway. Ah, my wonderful 13-year-old life."
What? The reveal at the end that she's only 13 is like truly it's a shocking twist. Like, that's like some M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that comment was almost lyrically better than the song itself.
It's true. It had a little more narrative nuance. You know, it starts with there's like action, like a big opening scene of the drink falling. You know, you bring in these new characters, these drunk parents. It's awful.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about the blaming it on his dumb friends part. That's not very nice.
Do you think?
Take responsibility for what you did. They didn't force you to drink at the basketball game.
Maybe that's part of why his parents are so upset. They're like, look, you did your chores. However, you know, you're being, not very mature in trying to throw others under the bus. It's not a noble
snitch.
Yeah, he's being a snitch. And, obviously, Mr. and Mrs. DeLonge subscribe to the snitches get stitches mentality. And I respect that.
Yeah. I like that you still say Delange.
I can't stop, man. It's just like how I said it for so many years. And I tried to pull up on it as it was happening. It was like, nope, it's coming out of my mouth.
So this is the first, I think this is the first song we've covered that's on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show as well.
Okay, tight.
And I believe it was on the track listing as Rich Lips because they couldn't call it Dick Lips.
Were they just too big at that point? Because, I mean, this record came out on a major label, but do you think there were executives who cared less pre-Damn It than, you know, when you get into, like, that era where they're one of the biggest rock bands in the world?
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that because on the Wikipedia for the song Dick Lips, when it was released as a single, it was the final single that they released with Cargo before they went on to MCA. So this was actually sort of at that time where they weren't completely massive yet. And when the song was released as a single, it didn't even chart because Damn It was such a runaway success.
That's crazy. It is.
Yeah, it's like, it's ridiculous to think about how many actually really good songs they have. Like, I don't get it.
They have 155 really good songs, Josiah.
Well, for you, they're all going to be one of your top 5 Blink-182 songs.
Yeah, I get a sense that's where it's going, eh?
But yeah, I don't know, like, to think about that this song already was out there and it didn't even chart because Damn It was so big, and then, like, Josie came right after this is, like, ridiculous.
Just too many hits, man. They're like Michael Jackson.
But yeah, so it was listed as Rich Lips on Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Soft.
And then there's a thing on the album where, like, the mic is barely on, but Mark would sort of echo the vocals, like, at the chorus.
Yeah, you see that in the live videos a lot, and it's weird.
Yeah. So it wasn't really, like, his mic is barely on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. And I saw somebody actually theorizing on Reddit that the reason you can't hear it is because they doubled it up with the studio version in order to make it sound better, which I don't know. I mean, I think there's some editing going on Mark, Tom, and Travis show for sure.
Yeah, man. We've spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about how Blink is not a good live band, and they have a really good live record.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
But I think we don't, like, outside of, I feel like we're going to go off the deep end if we start on that, because how are they so bad live, and yet they've been touring for like 5 years, even on the newest album, which only came out a year ago. But
maybe we'll solve this mystery in like 2.5 years or whatever.
It's probably hidden in plain sight, just like the Dude Ranch mystery was all along.
Exactly. We just need Corn Fan 420 to put his talents, or his or her talents, I'm sorry.
So what do you think of Mark's echoing?
I hate it, and it's funny because this video, like Benoit Balls, has so many incredible live videos floating around on YouTube from like the 90s when they're playing like larger clubs. So there's a really sort of enthusiastic audience and they're super into it, but it's like so comparatively small to what they would become, and a lot of punk jumps for you specifically.
Yeah, thank you.
And so these like awesome VHS shot videos were like so great to watch, and then as soon as you get to that pre-chorus, you get that Mark like, and yesterday. Like it's brutal, and I could see why it's not on the record. Like, do you think Mark Trombino just sort of like, when he wasn't looking, pulled it down?
He heard it. He did a sad Trombino.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know what you're saying, but I also kind of like how Mark seemed so hyperactive back then that he was also trying to sort of sabotage the song. I think it's the same thing as the title is, like, the song is so earnest that Mark felt the need to like constantly be sabotaging it, because there's times where he even, like, on one of them, I can't find it now, I watched so many, but there's one where Mark like totally gets a dirty look from Tom during that part, because he does that thing and he gets a dirty look, and like he's jumping around so much and kind of like being a bit of a jester while they play it, and I think it's really fun. But I want to show you this one live video that you may have seen where like, so when they played it live, Tom would sort of sing that pre-chorus bit quietly as like an intro. Another thing that sort of predates the Angels and Airwaves Earnestness. Yeah,
it's so weird because he seems to be doing it pretty sincerely, right? But it's, you know, it often comes right on the heels of them making some sort of like vagina joke.
Awful joke.
Dude, every video, every live recording I found of the song, the jokes that come before it are truly insane.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just about to play. So speaking of, Tom usually does that intro, but Mark, who was very hyper and really funny back then, in my opinion.
He's very funny right now. Please come on the pod, Mark.
Yeah. No, I just mean he didn't seem like now he seems funny in a controlled way while they're playing live, but back then he honestly seemed like he could do anything and it wouldn't be a surprise. Like there's videos of him just humping people and stuff. It seems like he was just unhinged. But they play. So here's a video of them playing in London in 1999.
Okay.
And Mark totally butchers the intro. He does the intro, and you'll hear. Okay, I'm gonna play it now.
Nothing to lose. Yeah. A boy who went out when he finished. I'm going hungry. Nothing to do. Yeah.
Nothing to do at all. Nothing at all to do. Nothing. That's good.
They can't trust me because I blew it once before.
Oh my God.
So it's that's Temple of the Dog, right? I'm going hungry.
I'm going hungry. Yeah. I wish Tom was coming in with the Eddie Vedder loop over top.
Yeah. I love that. It's so good.
It's so...
I can't stop watching it, especially the shit-eating grin on his face. It's so funny.
But it looks like the only time that he got to do it, right? Because the rest of them are a sort of much more sincere version of that from Tom. So was there just one night where he just let Mark goof all over his hit?
I think so. Yeah, maybe they let him do it that one time, and then they're like, "No,
it's not
never
funny."
Mind.
But they're wrong.
You're
it's
not
very
allowed
funny.
to do this.
That's so good.
Yeah. So I love that. But I also want to say, when you look at the live videos, you can actually compare live performances with Scott versus Travis because they sort of played it a lot in the switchover of members.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this is an example of. And I've been really hard on Travis, and I do think he's really obviously an amazing drummer, but this is an example of where his being indulgent goes too far, because the sort of shuffling drums, he just gets a little bit too showy with it.
Oh yeah, I can picture that.
I feel like this is like Scott being a very rudimentary no bullshit drummer. This is him trying his hardest to do something out of the norm. It's like when a dumb guy tries to sound smart, like I do sometimes. But then you get an actual smart person talking about it, and then it just becomes oh, never mind. Seems a bit wanky.
Okay, so do you have the video of this, or is this just a story about how you don't think you're very smart?
Well, actually, even in the same video, we can kind of hear the drumming a bit at the start, so I'm going to hit play again.
Okay.
Even on in there and also on Mark, Tom, and Travis show, it just sounds like he's doing I don't know drum terms, but he sounds like he's doing something that has a term instead of just doing the fucking roll like he's supposed to.
It's a very termy set. It makes it sound like a Tiger Army song. It's very shuffly.
Exactly, and I think that might have even been what Scott was going for, but his own limitations made it cool.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. It's just a bit too far.
No, I don't like it. I don't want any Tiger Army in my pop punk. I'm not interested.
Oh, another thing. Sorry, I remembered another thing about Mark, Tom, and Travis show version is that autoplay. They because of Travis, they half time the song halfway through as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll show you here.
Okay. Travis, just chill out, bro.
I think it shows that this song is really towing a very delicate line where it's just, like I've said before, like it's almost cheesy, but not too cheesy, where it just works perfectly. But then when you cut it in halftime, and then with Mark's call and response vocals, which are actually a lot louder than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're there, man.
Oh man, it's just really gross.
They're highly there. Yeah, I'm not into it. All right, what else do you have in your massive
My pile?
Your massive pile of Wikipedia edit research?
Well, I don't need to share it necessarily, but you were mentioning how there's so many VHS recordings, and I'm actually going to play a little bit of it because I love how the warbly VHS sound just makes it sound like otherworldly. Like, I wish that like a noise label would put out like warped pop punk, like fucked up sounding pop punk.
Like real
so cool.
Jandek ass pop punk.
Yeah, like, oh man, it sounds so cool. And this was at the Warped tour as well, so that explains the warp. Like that's so cool. It sounds like, yeah, totally Jandek, or like, yeah, it sounds like it would have been on Brave New Waves.
It sounds like something friend of the podcast Jesse Locke might write about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this Lock 182 right there.
It's totally, yeah. It's the, up there in terms of various things we've played that could have been like articles on Weird Canada.
Yeah, and it really does. Like, obviously, this also fits into the time when they had the perfect 2017 hipster skateboarder look. Everything about them is like unintentionally so cool and way more influential on modern indie culture than people want to admit.
It's true. They look like SoundCloud rappers, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they look like they sell prescription pills without...
And they say really homophobic stuff, and you're not sure if they mean it or if they're being subversive. That is literally the same.
Yeah,
it's their whole vibe.
Totally.
Okay. More from the pile.
The pile. Yeah. Sorry about the pile. I know that.
No, I love the pile.
The pile's here to say there's some real stupid stuff coming that you're gonna get mad about.
Oh no.
Okay, so I didn't really, through your This Exists, do you know what AU stands for?
No.
In the context of like internet art?
No, I don't think I do.
So I looked it up like the adult fucking dad that I am, and it's like alternate universe art. So
okay.
on DeviantArt, this is
I
like
forgot how much.
I'm exhausted by this actually already.
I forgot how much you love DeviantArt.
The username is Manly Man.
Okay.
They've created a human alternate universe for Steven Universe.
Okay, that's like
which is a
cartoon, right? Yeah.
And he's working on one where the fusions are science babies. They all have a mom, donor of stem cells to fertilize the egg, and a mother, the one who carries the child. Melanie Dubois is the daughter of Jocelyn Dubois, a Gulf War veteran, and Luja Labib, an Arab woman who Jocelyn met while in deployment. There's like literally 6 paragraphs that continues to explain this painful edit. I don't understand how any of it relates to this image entitled Piss and Vinegar, Friends in a Garage, where it's just like 3 sort of sci-fi looking Josie and the Pussycats people playing the song Dick Lips.
What? Okay, so so you kind of described it. It's like 3 women in a rock band, like big hair, like face paint, like full kind of glam rock.
Like kind of like Gem in the Holograms.
Yeah,
maybe?
very Gem in the Holograms. And then written over top of it in a very Blink-182 Untitled Album era font.
Yeah, very edgy.
Is you wouldn't wait for something new, and yesterday I thought of you.
That's and somehow this involves stem cell egg donation between a Gulf War veteran and an Arab woman. And it's somehow related to Steven Universe.
This is insane. So you weren't exaggerating. I thought like there is 10 paragraphs here. Like we couldn't possibly read this whole thing, but he's built this entire universe. And then
If I read this whole thing, I would have technically read another book in my life.
yeah, you would have to count this, and you don't want to mess up your perfect record.
No, my perfect score.
So the women that exist in the alternate universe for the show Steven Universe that Manly Man has built here features Melanie, Jocelyn, and then these are the people in the band.
I believe so. Well, if we skip ahead, it's going to require some scrolling, but the very final paragraph, we read, Melanie uses a Fender Stratocaster, Sarah uses a Fender Precision Lefty Bass, and Hortensia uses a drum set that's set up mostly like Travis Barker's.
This is...
So...
Okay. How did you find this?
Look.
Like, were you Googling the lyrics for Dick Lips on DeviantArt? Like, is that how deep this goes for you, dude?
It goes pretty far. Well, I just searched the name Blink-182 and then the song title.
Okay. This is a truly beautiful thing, and
I mean, it's
I look
just
forward to
so
sharing it with people.
profoundly confusing. And I've never seen Steven Universe, so I looked it up, and it looks nothing like what I see in this garage.
Does your employer know how much time you spend researching for this podcast?
I do this in my free time.
Oh, okay, cool. I believe you.
Yeah. No, this ties into a theme of the song. Is that I, a few months ago, stopped drinking. And so now I find myself with a lot more spare time and a lot of lucidity that I didn't have before. So I replaced alcohol with something much more damaging to my brain, I think.
Like, this is one of those things where I don't know that it's super cut and dry. Like, that this is the better choice for you. But
Exactly. I'm having much worse dreams, and I have a different kind of hangover that's truly horrible.
it's truly existential and forcing you to confront your life and your mortality and how you choose to live that life head on.
I mean, but aren't you more happy that you know that this art is out there?
Dude, 100%. I was thinking that today, where like that's sort of like a lull, some frustrating stuff in the middle of the day, and then I just thought about like how happy I am to live in a universe that has Clickhole and that I've got to see Clickhole, and I feel the same about this, where I'm like, I'm glad that this DeviantArt exists and that we've created a platform to find it and talk about it.
Well, I also just love that people like this are earnestly arriving at these incredibly fucked up things. Like, I mean, I love Clickhole too, but that's someone trying to make a joke. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this person is doing, but this isn't even old. This copyright 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Like, this is just, there's so much to unpack here.
maybe when we get to the point where, we have enough patrons that we're like giving out merch at certain tiers, like, $10 a month, you get a free t-shirt. Like we have pod swag. This art should absolutely be like the front of the t-shirt. Just this.
Yeah, I agree. We may have to give Manly Man some cash.
But this is spread it around the community, like we're all about community.
Yeah, we're all, this is my tribe. People like this on DeviantArt.
I mean, they are kind of, because this is how you spend your time, dude. Like,
So yeah, well, along these lines, another term that I wasn't aware of was AMV, which is a YouTube term. You know that one?
no.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
I guess I should be the new host of This Exists.
I just got to hand you the keys to my channel. It's like a Fast and
Yeah.
Furious car race where, like,
You're ready.
yeah, I'm Dom. I've lost my car, and I'm giving it to you.
Well, AMV stands for anime music video,
Oh.
which we've all probably stumbled across
Yeah.
at one point or another,
Yeah?
where it's just edited anime. For some reason, you don't really need audio for this, but I'm just going to show you what I found here. For some reason, somebody has determined that the song Dick Lips perfectly matches the life story of Butters from South Park.
What?
And they've edited, and keep in mind, this is a YouTube video that only has 5 views. Just for a real sense of how deep I went on YouTube.
Okay, so this is an anime music video with how many views? Sorry?
5. Well, presumably 6 or 7.
6 or 7 now because I've started it. And so it's, what is it called? It's called
Butters Stotch Dick Lips. And it was uploaded by somebody named Sonic Ryan 1992 with Sonic the Hedgehog in his avatar.
Okay, sick.
It's in celebration of Blink-182's 20th anniversary, which was a few weeks ago.
He's quite respectful. Yeah.
He has determined. First of all, in the first paragraph of his write-up, he says, "This was admittedly needlessly stressful, and I may never do something like this again."
Like starting this podcast, so I respect him. I get it.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's attached Butter's life story to the song Dick Lips and edited it together.
So I've got it running in the background right
supercut.
now. So essentially, he's taken different scenes throughout the history of Butters' run on South Park and matched it to the lyrics of Dick Lips. Like, that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Does it work? Have you watched it?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't really see how it could work, but I see him riding a horse, which I guess fits into the Dick Lips thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess he's also done another one with Butters that he said was surprisingly easy.
Oh.
Because it fit Butters' life a lot. I guess he's done multiple AMVs of the life of Butters.
So look at, and I don't want to. I am in a very much a glass house right now by having this podcast, but making multiple music videos that attempt to fuse Butters' life story with like the narrative of a pop song is maybe pushing it. Like maybe that's too much. Like maybe talking about Dick Lips for an hour and 25 minutes is fine, or
And counting.
Yeah, we're not done. But that's too much.
So this is your limit, is the life's work of Sonic Ryan.
I found it. So was it Sonic Ryan like 95? Did he have a number or something?
1992. So
92.
I think, assuming that's the year he was born, he's 15 right now. So you're making fun of a 15-year-old boy.
He's not 15. That's like 50. No.
Oh, wait, 25.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at math. Oh my God,
You
he's
skipped
25.
a decade. By doing this podcast, you have like recalibrated your entire brain to just feel like there's no way you should be doing this in 2017,
Exactly.
and you thought it was
Wait,
2007.
Sonic Ryan is 25. I even regret bringing this up at all. That is so shameful.
The
The whole time I was thinking he was 15.
No, this is like an adult's life's work.
Well, you should rest assured that he's never going to do it again because it was needlessly stressful.
Did he do it to other Blink songs though? Like before he got to this one, or are they just other songs?
I didn't really realize that he had done multiples until I just read it right now.
Okay.
But there's so many AMVs on his page that I don't even know where to begin.
Well, if he has any other theories, like Matt Stone and Trey Parker listened to Dick Lips and were inspired to create the character of Butters, we would love to hear them on a future episode because I love a theory. I feel like you love a theory, Josiah.
I do love a theory, but I also just kind of generally like this nice mashup that this not young man has done.
Dedicated his entire life to. So, yeah, that's tough.
I personally think that that's not quite as sad as some of the guitar things that people do. For some reason, well, I don't know. This is going to get you all up against the wall that I'm being mean to this guy. I'll play you the audio of this in a second, but this man has imagined what if the song had a guitar solo, and he inserted a guitar solo into it.
Oh, let's listen to this.
So this is Little Red Guitars 2.
Tight.
So the username was already taken, apparently. He did this in 2013. He fucked up once or twice, but most people expect that now, I would think. Well, come on.
Not really.
Come on. We don't fuck up on our thing.
We've never made a mistake once in 8 full episodes of this show.
Yeah. Other than starting it.
No. Yeah. It's all predicated on a mistake, but otherwise it's fine.
So he is wearing a 4 Year Strong t-shirt, just to give you a little image of what's going on.
Sick.
I believe there's some sort of anime poster on the wall, and he's using an orange amp, which is not cheap.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. He has 2 guitar heads. He has an orange and a PV. This is a real gearhead over
Wow.
here.
Okay.
He's
A
got like a
serious
billion
man.
guitars in the back. He knows what's going on.
Regular Dream Theater podcast host here.
Okay, so let's hear his guitar solo.
Yo, I wish we did this podcast in person because I physically reacted to it when he went all the way up there at the end. I loved it.
Yeah.
I wish the
loved
song.
it?
No, I hated it, but like, I loved how stupid it was.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that really made it sound a lot like a maybe 2003 TV series theme song.
It's very Pokemon.
Or like Undeclared or something, which I guess adds to my idea that this is a Judd Apatow movie
Yeah,
and song.
you're circling like an executive produced by Judd Apatow sort of vibe, which I totally understand. To me, that sounds like what I imagine people who don't like a Wilhelm scream think a Wilhelm scream sounds like. Like, I love that band quite profoundly, but I know people who are just like, don't vibe with it, and now I know what they think.
I mean, I've never heard that band, but I know that I don't like it, and I'm just gonna like go ahead and veto this conversation.
Yeah, that's fair, man. We'll edit it out. It's
No, we don't have to edit it out, but I'm just saying, like, that's between you and the Wilhelmers out there.
okay, yeah. Get at me at Sam Sutherland. Don't tweet at Josiah or the pod. We can just have a silo this conversation.
A Wilhelm chat.
That's my side podcast. You can have your MXPX show, and I do a Wilhelm chat, which honestly I would be good at. So
It's a good title.
It is.
The thing about this video is that, like, this is sort of, I think I'm having the same reaction that you had to the last thing, which is like, why are you spending your time doing this? Like, if you're gonna go ahead and write a guitar solo, why don't you just write a song?
Yeah, but that's
Just write a song. Like, all the best bands are just stealing each other's ideas anyways, like especially punk bands. It's fine. Just change the key of Dick Lips and then write your own song.
So I didn't find.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, you got more?
Okay. Well, I don't know if am I allowed? Am I allowed?
Yeah, dude.
Am I allowed to?
Yeah,
This is my favorite. I was really excited for this part.
The part where I try to move on and you
I
realize
was excited
more
to
stuff.
hit rock bottom with research.
Oh, okay, so the DeviantArt like alternate universe Steven Universe fan fiction and accompanying fan art wasn't too far for you.
Oh no, that wasn't rock bottom at all. 'Cause
Okay.
that was on Topic.
So have we reached the bottom? Is this it?
Yeah, I'm gonna skip. Well, yeah, I'm gonna skip one thing that was only sort of okay. If you want to see it, you can sign up for our Patreon, and I'll include it in the notes.
What an amazing endorsement of giving us money. It was okay. We don't need to talk about it.
Well, just very quickly, then I'll say I found, because Russia is so popular in the media right now for various reasons.
Did you find
that
that Russian cover of the two guys like on the beach playing it or whatever?
No, it's not that.
Oh, that was weird.
Sounds great though. There's a Russian mall punk band called Dick Lips.
Oh,
and there's like all these videos of them just like jamming, and they like the videos look like they're from the 90s because the webcam is so old and shitty, but they're like within the last couple years.
That's
and
awesome.
They just sort of sound like Simple Plan but sung in Russian, and they're called Dick Lips.
Cool. Well, we support them.
That's like a whole episode of its own because there's a lot to get into.
Okay, so that's like some exclusive content for you, but we're not quite at the bottom. Oh wait, I can feel it, man. We hit the bottom of the ocean, and look,
Yeah.
Josiah's here with some facts.
So these are not facts, nor do they have anything to do with Blink-182. But
Okay.
I went through. I was trying to find good covers that weren't acoustic, just in case, because I like to add covers in now too, because yours are too good half the time, and I like to just provide something truly horrible to make you regret waking up in the morning.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I just searched the term Dick Lips on YouTube and went through every page. And
I believe you because I stop at like 5, and I believe that you.
But I'm saying like I'm not talking like Blink-182 dick lips. I'm saying just the words dick lips with
quotes?
quotation marks.
In quotes, okay.
So I found some really great videos. This is just the most vanilla prank ever. Some boys in a high school found some novelty penis-shaped lipstick. They on a dare they forced their friend to put the penis-shaped lipstick on. The video is called Dick Lips and it has 78 views.
And that's it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play you a little clip from it so you can hear. I mean, this does play into it because it's like very wienery, corny high school kids who think they're being like transgressive, but they're just being very dorky.
Okay, so I'm ready for this like meta dick lips experience now.
Yeah, so there's like these boys, and they're just very like normal looking boys, and they think it's so funny that this lipstick is shaped like a penis. And they're like, the whole time they're like, "You promise you do it, dude. You promise." And he's like, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to put the lipstick on. It looks like a dick." It's a great vid. Here's a little audio sample from it.
Okay.
Oh God! Dick stick. It's a perfect dick. You ready to put this on, Terry? You want some dipstick? No, I'm good.
It's just them giggling about the penis shape on the lipstick.
Imagine like still finding that funny. Like imagine like you were at a party and someone was like, "Check out this hilarious thing. It's dick stick."
Wait, I thought this was uploaded a long time ago, but it's from last year.
Weird.
And the description is, "It's just lipstick shaped like a dick. If you were looking for something else, then you're on the wrong website."
Right on, man. Just get to the point.
There is one more. So that was one of the things I found.
Wait, I got one more thing to say about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
My thing is going crazy. Okay, say that sentence again.
just like I was thinking about whose dick lipstick that must have been, because those kids are definitely in a high school. Like they're in a gym or something, and they look pretty young. So my thinking is that's like one of the teachers, like, you know, they were at a bachelorette or something.
Right.
Like, you know, some 30-something-year-old teacher, and that it was still in their bag and it fell out, and the mortified feeling that must have consumed that person, like when they got home that day and were like, "Oh my God, the boys in phys ed definitely found that dick stick, and we can just no one can ever acknowledge it." And I just like knowing that is an unspoken secret, an open secret in that community.
I think you've created a very nice narrative that I really like. But having watched the whole video, there is a point where the victim of the dick lips says, "You promised it was going to be blue." So I think that they did premeditate going out and buying this possibly at Spencer's Gifts or Hot Topic.
Thanks for ruining my whole narrative there, man. Cool. I encourage all of your like theorizing.
I'm sorry. If I had not watched the whole video, I would be fully on board with the. You're creating your own alternate universe. You're no better than the deviant artists.
Well, no better than. We weren't vilifying them. We're holding them up and celebrating them. So that's
okay.
What
Here's
a
my
compliment.
last. Here's the last thing I'd like to share from my journey into the depth of dick lips.
All right. Give it to me.
This man's name is Lord P. France.
Uh-huh.
He this video he's uploaded has 65 views. It's 11 minutes long.
What?
And it's called "She Tried to Kiss Me with Dick Lips." It's I'll play the audio over here, but you can see what it looks like.
Okay.
It's an 11-minute anecdote about how he was going to get high and drink with this white couple, and she tried to kiss him as the man said, "Oh, she just had she just had my appendage in her mouth," basically.
You struggled so hard to come up with a sensitive way to describe the simple, noble act of oral sex, man.
A dinky.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did skip around a little bit and find a little good audio quote of She tried to kiss me with dick lips. So here we go. Here's a little taste.
The whole time I'm there, this motherfucker talking about like, oh yeah, she just had my dick in her mouth 30 minutes ago. So I'm sitting up there like, this bitch just tried to put her dick lips on me. Like, see, they white. I'm gonna let you know they white. Cause I'm sorry. I mean, you know, you got some fucked up black people, but ain't no black people about to randomly try to kiss you with some dick lips. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit literally got me fucking upset. Like,
I actually really like this guy.
I know. I actually wish I had watched the whole video. I think now that I'm done focusing in on this episode, I can really spend some time with Lord P. Franks.
Well, I mean, you have been known to sort of fall down a vlog rabbit hole, like much more so than anyone I know.
I know, it's really bad.
So this is like your new dude.
Especially the videos with under 1,000 or even under 100 in this case are like just real treasures to me.
I wish that this was the song that Dick Lips was named after, and like that was a sample that started the song. And so
yeah, I was gonna say that's a perfect sample to start the song because like that's a trend that has really gone away is people sampling things.
I feel like every local like punk band when I was in high school, like every song started with a different sample.
Oh, totally. And it was like there was always a band that was just like John Hughes movies too.
Yeah, like there would be some band that was like trying to be too metal and it would be all like, you know, John Carpenter movies, and then there'd be the band that subverted it by being all like not just John Hughes movies, but you know, Bring It On. You know, like modern teen movies, just like we don't even care, man.
I always got tricked by there was that power violence band called What Happens Next.
Yeah.
And they had a sample on their LP of Weird Al saying, "Now for the exciting sounds of What Happens Next." And I was like, holy shit, how did they get Weird Al on their recording? But it was obviously just him saying the words. Like,
yeah, that's a common phrase, dude.
They pulled a fast one on me.
Wow.
But yeah, I would love to hear. She tried to kiss me with dick lips?
Yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. Because Blink never, am I correct? Like, there's no samples. They were never like a sample band.
There's just like the little sketches about peeing and dogs and stuff.
Yeah, they were a skit band.
I think we've, in real time, we've uncovered the mentality that leads you to, say, record a guitar solo over a Blink song or correct something to scratch that itch.
Yeah, that's it. We're there.
So that was my rock bottom. So
wow. Well, I gotta say, your rock bottom is my rock top because I really love Lord P. Franks. I guess what makes it rock bottom for you though is the fact that like you watched a lot of this 11-minute video, and this is just like a low quality vlog, like in a man's bedroom.
It's not that low quality. Like, look how messy his room is.
Yeah,
dude.
that's what I mean. Like he hasn't cleaned up. You know,
for someone who's so concerned about being kissed with dick lips, he doesn't seem to care that much about the cleanliness of his own home.
Yeah, he's into hygiene, but for others, which is selfish.
Yeah, you don't like worry about your own hygiene first.
So as we reach back up to try to break the surface and survive another week of Blink-155, when it comes to down, 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 or not down, 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 I didn't find that much. There's like a lot of acoustic covers, a lot of drum covers and guitar covers. So, you know, all I kind of had was the weird Mark sort of effectively covering Tom's version that you already played, which was amazing. And then just this like really lovely piano version, which I know is nothing new on the show. But again, I always find these sorts of like, versions highlight what an insanely good pop band they are. Like that this is a song called Dick Lips, and it makes for like a really sort of touching piano ballad that you can totally imagine, you know, as we've discussed a few times, sort of in the finale of some CW show. Like it just fits so comfortably in that world melodically.
Like the intro of the show is the guitar solo of the version, and then after one of the characters is bleeding out in the street right before they were going to confess their love to their roommate that they've known their whole life.
Yeah. The roommate who's a punk fan. Like every time they show their room, there's a lot of like, Blink-182 and like Bowling for Soup posters for some reason.
Or just like Mint Records posters.
Oh yeah.
Probable thing.
Always Mint Records. Always like a Smugglers poster. And you just wonder how.
I know. That's literally the main reason why you would want to be signed to Mint Records.
Just for placement in like super bad and an assorted number of like much more 90s type sex comedies.
Yeah, no, it actually still. I mean, my good friend Ryan Dick, who I think I would consider him a friend of the pod. I don't know how caught up he is, but he's the label manager of Mint Records now, and it's still a thing. Like they still constantly send posters to TV shows and movies.
That's awesome.
So anyways, let's hear this. Oh, that's delightful.
Isn't it just like, it might not be after the person's bleeding out. It might be, they got that peck on the cheek,
Yeah, it is more. It's happier than I expected.
Yeah.
Actually.
Now we didn't
It
get to
also
the
could be
minor
like a
note,
bank. It could be a bank commercial or something too.
I would feel very safe banking with that institution.
Bank
Totally.
with Blink.
They should have like a Bitcoin or something, like a Blink coin type thing.
Blink coin.
Blink,
That's good.
it's good, right?
Well, I'm glad that I get to show you this one. If that's all you have.
That's all I have. So
I think this is gonna really. I'm pretty sure. Like I honestly can't remember anything other than Blink 182 facts now. But I'm pretty sure that you actually really like this band.
Oh no! What is this? Oh, when the hell did they
Right?
cover this?
Right? Oh, sorry.
I love this band. These
So
these
the band is bomb the music industry.
yeah, good friends, great band.
They're even the friend.
Oh yeah,
card.
we're pals, bro.
Well, yeah, this seems to be like a house show or something. In the middle of their song Bike Test 1 2 3, they started playing Dick Lips.
This is amazing.
At the Che Cafe in San Diego, a very legendary punk venue.
I'm absolutely going to at Jeff Rosenstock, singer of this band, and tell him that he has to listen to this podcast at whatever we're at now, 1 hour 46 minutes. I just gave up, right? Like I totally gave up. So
I know.
But yeah, so
win.
let's listen to Bomb's mid-set cover of Dick Lips.
Mid song, yeah. Okay, here we go.
I love it.
There you go.
I love them.
Yeah.
Their ability to just like launch into any number of covers was always like one of my favorite things about them. The first time that we did like a sort of really short weekend tour with them, we played at Asbury Lanes in New Jersey, like the bowling alley owned by what's it called? Oh my God. The punk band from New Jersey.
Oh, Dillinger. Or no, wait.
Dillinger Escape Plan.
No, I was going to say Dillinger 4, but they own that bar, right?
Yeah. The Triple Rock. Hopeless Romantic, Bouncing Souls. So
Oh, yeah.
So it's their like bowling alley punk bar. It's awesome. And I liked Bomb kind of before we had played these shows. And then we did a show with them in Boston. Then we did the show in Jersey. And I was like, oh, this is cool. We're kind of getting friendly. And then just in the middle of their set, they started playing My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, which is, one of the top 5 Lit songs for sure. And I was like standing at the side of the stage, just like so stoked because I love that song. And then Jeff was like kind of cut like motion, like come out and sing it because they were just like fucking around doing exactly this, like in the middle of a song. And so I like ran out and like total like hardcore frontman, the first verse of Lit, and then kind of turned around and put the mic back in. And Jeff would just look at me and he was like, "That was the second verse." And I was like, "How do you know?"
That's sweet.
Just in the context of like fucking around, like that I sang the wrong Lit verse. Anyway.
Well, it does also speak to the song that like there's a lot of acoustic covers, but there are also a lot of punk bands playing this song.
Yeah,
in, like,
just
a very
straight covering it.
Sing along, straight up cover. Even my old band Grown Ups actually covered this song a few times. It's just like a song that everyone knows, and it's so sing alongable. And yeah, I mean, I think that Bomb the Music Industry cover was awesome.
Also, like it feels like a deep cut, but it's not. like it's not covering Damn It or like even Pathetic or something. Like it's sort of middle of the album, but you're right. Like if you've ever loved that band, you know every word to that song, but it feels a little more insider-y.
It feels like a deep cut at the time.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, I am down with all of those. Down.
Yeah, me too. And I'd like to conclude with just one that is painfully awful.
Oh,
if I may.
Yes. Well, you honestly, like at this point, like I'm clearly not trying to keep anything under control. Like I've lost the show. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, during the California episode, you brought up a wonderful drunk guy singing it, and in my deep dig, I found a video that you're about to be the 25th view.
Oh, okay, that actually seems pretty high for this episode.
It's true. This is a Scottish guy named Paul Jensen.
Yeah.
And him and his friend are doing a drunk cover of Dick Lips. So let's keep in mind it's a drunk Scotsman singing this song.
These are my people, man.
Really? Is that your background?
Yeah, I mean Sutherland. I think we have a tartan and stuff. I don't really care. But
I'm Scottish too.
Oh, this is great, man. Our shared heritage.
Partly, yeah. Well, also we share a dad in Alan Cross, as we've established.
Right. That's
important to keep our alternate universe alive.
We need AU continuity, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to these two drunk Scottish guys.
Yeah, man.
Drinks. We have instruments. I can't sing, but we're gonna try and play something for you anyway. This is a really, really terrible cover of Dick Clips by Blink 182. You ready? Yep. Please, Mom, you ground me all the time. I know that I was right all along, and I'm hoping. Remember, I'm a kid, I know not what I did, just having fun. You couldn't wait for something new.
So, yeah.
Maybe it's because, like, the most dominant pop culture depiction of, Scottish people in my youth was, Train Spotting. But I just sort of picturing that, like, coming out of a, like, choose life. You couldn't wait. Like, there's something very, like, Ewan McGregor in the 90s about that delivery.
Well, again, the quality of that video kind of looks like... I don't even know, like Zero Dark 30 or something. But this video was uploaded in 2015 again, so I don't know what's going on.
Maybe it was part of the production of Zero Dark 30. I mean, when did Zero Dark 30 come out? I think it might have been 2015.
Yeah, so perhaps they were taking a break from shooting Zero Dark 30 and they got a little bit tipsy from craft services or whatever.
Yeah. And then we're like, let's perform our favorite song.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously I love that video. Again, this is the kind of YouTube that I live for.
I'm just imagining, it's like Jessica Chastain and Chris Pratt, and they're just sort of fumbling around DeviantArt as they do between takes, and Jessica.
I mean, are there other people like me out there? I honestly would love to know, like people who, when you search something on YouTube, you click most recent so that you can have the least amount of hits and the least. Like I've been the first view on so many videos in my life.
That's so good, man. Congrats.
It's a real accomplishment.
So what are your final thoughts on Dick Lips, Josiah Hughes?
Wait, are we done?
Are we not?
I'm just joking.
Oh, God. Don't.
I love it. My opinion has not changed. I think it's a great song. The lyrics are pretty corny, but so is life.
Well, man, you're clearly in your honest Tom years, which I respect.
Yeah.
So my final thought is, I am a prophetic genius, and as expected, earlier in this show when you decided to share that Middle Eastern T-shirt store on our Facebook page in real time, to sort of make some kind of point that would confuse potential listeners of the show, who we are obviously seeking to alienate as much as possible every week. I got a message from my wife Ashley in the middle of recording with Did Blink 155 FB get hacked? Lol. And then a link to this like nonsense that you have shared with zero context to our Facebook page. So that's my final thought.
By the end of this show, you're all gonna use the internet the same way as me. It's all just one big inside joke with yourself.
Well, I hope not, and good luck to anyone who sticks with us after this. But thank you for your time so far.